Welcome to the Hot Takes. In this video, there'll be takes about LeBron, KD, top 10. There's a lot of TikTok takes in this video. I like doing this video because I'm going to look at the TikTok community and show what they're doing and give my thoughts on it. Let's start with the first video.
I think the most overrated playoff run ever is, unfortunately, the 2016 Cavs. I really do. I think that this is as a playoff run in totality, not just the finals. Of course, the NBA Finals, I think, is the greatest NBA Finals ever. But as a run in totality, we have to keep in mind what they did in the 3 series before the NBA Finals, and it wasn't a great series. They played mid at best comp. I don't think the Cavs played a team during that run that could really give them a run for their money.
We all knew they were going to end up in the finals.
Let me repeat you this. Best player in each of those 3 series leading up to the final. Andre Drummond, Al Horford, and DeMar DeRozan. That's a playoff run. Yes. And from a statistical standpoint, as like LeBron James, he wasn't that crazy going up to the finals.
Now, the thing about this take is people don't realize that most teams in the Eastern Conference, especially during that stretch, had bad playoff runs going to the NBA Finals anyways. So when LeBron was on the Cavs from 2015 to 2018, we pretty much knew he was going to the finals every single year, especially with the Kyrie and Kevin Love team he had. Now in 2018, that was a semi-surprise, but then again, the teams aren't competent enough to really stop LeBron James. That's the thing about LeBron that gets overhyped, is because of his way of not carrying teams, but people going to the finals in so many consecutive years, which, yes, that's an achievement, but also you're going against teams that's not competent enough. Now, the Andre Drummond thing, that's because they had a high seed and because of the Pistons, but also, like, there are certain teams that just didn't have enough. They just didn't have enough players. It was still stack heavy in the West. So, yes, I semi-agree with this take. I don't think it's a 2016 playoff run because of the way that they beat the Golden State Warriors, even though they was down 3-1, and they was down 3-1 when they came back and won a championship, and LeBron won for Cleveland. So, because of that finals performance and because of how you play in the finals, I don't think the whole run is overrated. In my personal opinion, I think it's 2018 over 2016, personally, because people overrate how people just overrate. When you say overrate, you have to say how the community talks about certain things, and I feel like the community talks about 2018 playoff run more than the 2016 playoff run because LeBron played good in the NBA Finals and he got to a Game 7. So because of that, I don't think it's that overrated, but I understand his point as the Eastern Conference wasn't that top heavy, which isn't LeBron's fault, but also people tend to overrate his competition, even though he didn't play against good competition like the Western Conference did, because we pretty much knew that every single year LeBron was going to the NBA Finals in the East, and we knew that in 2017, 2018 the Warriors go to the finals, but in 2015, 2016, it was still a dogfight getting out of the Western Conference. So yes, I semi-agree with this take, but I feel like it's more 2018, 2016.
Right, I made this list April 9th. Giannis, Jokic, and B, KD, Tatum, Curry, Luka, Ja, Spider.
You put Ja in your top 10?
Yeah.
What the hell? No way.
I went live on TikTok. Nobody argued. No name. Only thing they argued was that Donovan
That's TikTok.
That no very.
Now, this is the thing that I don't understand about this take. I don't understand how Ja or Donovan Mitchell is even near the top 10 because they don't play at the caliber of other players. If you see how Ja Morant plays, one, Ja Morant is not that efficient at the rim as you think he is. The highlights you see and him constantly dunking and finishing, he wasn't that efficient last season. That's one. Ja Morant is not a good defender. Ja Morant is not a good shot creator, nor a good shooter at that much you think he is. So Ja Morant's best asset to the game, which is finishing, he wasn't that good at it last season as he was previous seasons. That's one. Two, Ja Morant is nowhere near the level of players that is in the top 10. I'm assuming he needs the bottom half because he doesn't touch the top 5. He doesn't, and I just don't understand, because the people that people have him in the bottom half is Tatum, Butler, LeBron, AD, KD. That's what no people have in the bottom half of the top 10. So if you have those players there, those players are already better than Ja and Donovan Mitchell. That's not even close. AD is better than him. Jimmy is better than him. Tatum is better than him. Even LeBron at an old age is better than Ja and Donovan Mitchell. So I don't understand how you have Ja even near the top 10, because even though he went live on TikTok and nobody debated him, it's because TikTok is a bad platform. Why did I do this series? I do this series because TikTok doesn't have good takes. TikTok normally has bad, egregious takes that I debate and I look at myself, because most of the takes are bad. Most of the takes they're just not good, because people on TikTok don't really have good basketball IQ. They say their take, and most people in the comments agree with them, or they don't say anything. Any people who go up in the lives and people who comment stuff still say the wrong things. People on TikTok just use basketball talking points that be on sports media or that be on social media. They don't really watch the game. They don't really play the game. That's why I don't want to be on TikTok like that. Even if I get 1,000 followers and I go live, I don't really want to talk to people, because I know people are going to come up there and not really give good takes. They're not really going to say good things that you should be saying if you know basketball or you talk about basketball. And this is a perfect example. Ja Morant shouldn't even be touching the top 10. I don't think he's even a top 20 player in the NBA. I would say he's about 25, 30, and even then, I don't know. Ja Morant is not near the top 10 level. Nowhere near that. I want to know his explanation behind it. I even watched this full podcast, the full episode, and I still don't understand why you have Ja Morant even near that category. It just doesn't make sense why you have Ja near that. He should be even near that. No, he shouldn't be near that.
The SHAQ argument is pretty cut and dry. He was at his peak, arguably as good as anyone has ever been at basketball.
Facts.
And in an era where every team had 7 Greg Ostertags who were like 7'2", 280 just to stop SHAQ, and it still didn't matter. Where I don't think Kobe, even at his absolute best, are you ever as scared of him as you were of SHAQ.
No, you're not.
Because there's ways to game plan against Kobe. There are ways to beat him. And even in the finals that he wins, it's a rock fight where SHAQ was going to average 35 and 15, and you
couldn't do anything about it.
Now, yes, I agree with this take to a certain extent, as it wasn't really something you could do to game plan against SHAQ, because SHAQ was such an anomaly in the NBA, and he was such a new thing that happened. Same thing that I think with Nikola Jokic, same thing I think with centers. But the thing about SHAQ is SHAQ is also semi-overrated, because when SHAQ played against competition that he would play against, like a Tim Duncan or Hakeem Olajuwon, when he played against tough centers that you had to go against, those he did not perform as well. The reason why Shaquille O'Neal is up high on all-time list and is like that dominant is because of the sheer force he had and how dominant he was, which I'm not taking that away from Shaq. Use what you have to your advantage. He used his weight and used his dominance to his advantage. I'm not taking it from Shaq. But when people put up so high and people like to say how good he played in the NBA Finals, yes, he did. But it's also because of the competition he went against at the center position, which I'm not taking away from Shaq. You play who you play against, and you play who's in front of you. And if you're gonna dominate them, you're gonna dominate them. That's not what I'm saying. But when people like to overrate Shaq, because yes, people overrate Shaq, people have him in the top 5, and people say how dominant he was, which yes, but your dominance doesn't equal you being in the top 5. Your dominance doesn't equal you playing good against other competent centers. Look at when Shaq played against other competent centers. He did not play as good as you think Shaquille O'Neal would do. So yes, I agree with this take, as people would game plan against Kobe, but that's because his style of play was already figured out. His style of play was already known how to game plan against. And even when you game plan against Kobe still performed at an all-time level. Yes, there's some series where Kobe didn't play as good as he should have played, just like every all-time great player, but Kobe still performed. Kobe still played amazing in 2008. Kobe still played good in 2010 when the Celtics had an all-time defense. More 2008, 2010, Kobe played good in 2008. Kobe played great in 2010. But when he went against all-time great defenses like the Spurs, when he went against all-time great defenses like the Celtics, he still performed at an all-time level. So yes, there's ways to game plan against Kobe, but that's because he was already figured out. There wasn't really a game plan to go against Shaq, which yes, I agree with. But Shaq is also overrated, because I don't have Shaq that high on my all-time list, because yes, he was very dominant. But when he went against tough competition, when he went against players He played bad, and then also his dominance and his weight didn't transfer to when he got older. When he got older, he wasn't really as physically imposing as he was when he was before. So yes, I agree with this take as people know how to gameplay against Shaq, but I have Kobe as a better player than Shaq.
Now I'm on record stating that the nose candy era of the 70s might be the worst era of basketball. But damn it, the 2020s might give it a run for its money. I mean, it's no defense being played. The league has made the three-point line so essential that big man back to the basket play is non-existent. Everybody be on the three-point line like my man Beetlejuice, just hanging around. Does anybody in this era actually love the game of basketball? It seemed like to me Zion don't give a damn about the game, and neither does Ja Morant. He's trying to blow it for himself. LeBron is old, Westbrook is old, Curry is old, Durant is old. Kobe had a mad obsession for the game, hence the Mamba mentality. The mad obsession to not only beat, but be better than everybody else in the league. Now everybody joining forces with each other. Just look at the people who committed for the Olympics. This list is Gabricio. These boys about to get smoked. Austin Reeves. Competition was so stiff, guys like Gilbert Arenas was getting cut. I know it's still early, but this era ain't looking good.
Now, this is why I don't like it when older people when the old people who talk about basketball starts talking basketball, because it just doesn't make sense that you say this era is weak. Because yes, this era plays defense. Just because they don't play the hard-nosed defense you know about in the 90s and the other 2000s doesn't mean this era doesn't play defense. This era is more perimeter-oriented than it was back then when people was in the post. So I don't understand what older people are talking about when they say this era is weak, because it's not. This era is still very entertaining to watch. Y'all just don't like change, because yes, the NBA is going through a three-point revolution, but that's how that works. The NBA, people in the NBA realize that three-pointers can have more an effect on a team. The NBA is more offensive oriented, and that's entertaining. Now, yes, I agree that the defense isn't as good as it was in 2000s and the 90s. Yes, I agree, but people still play defense. This era of basketball is more offensive oriented. That's why. And people not committing to Team USA is because players do more things than just play basketball. That's why. And also, players just don't want to play for Team USA no more. Players just don't want to do that. So you saying that this era sucks because people don't want to play overseas, that just doesn't make sense. And then also, you using two anomalies to say that the players don't care about basketball just doesn't make sense, because I'm not going to address the Zion and Ja situation because I don't want to talk about them, but you using two anomalies and then comparing it to Kobe Bryant, who has one of the best mentalities in the NBA ever, just doesn't make sense, because you didn't say nothing about Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has also a mentality, but you don't say anything about those players. You use two anomalies to say your argument, which doesn't make sense, because Jimmy Butler has a mentality like that. Stephen Curry has a mentality like that. Giannis has a mentality like that. Players has a mentality like those things. But just because they don't show enough emotion for y'all, or just because they don't do certain things that other players do that shows that they care about the game, those players care about the game. Do you watch how they have evolved their game? Nikola Jokic is one of the prime examples of people saying that they don't care about the game. Nikola Jokic has evolved his game significantly since he was a rookie in the NBA. He's well conditioned. He knows how to play the basketball. He has IQ. He doesn't just get up every morning and just hop on the court. He trains and he plays like every other basketball player. Players in the NBA care about the game, but just because they don't match your criteria of caring about a sport, that means to care about the sport? No. You don't know what these players do on a day-to-day basis. You don't know how these players practice or anything. So you saying that those players doesn't care about the game because of your criteria of caring about a game literally just doesn't make sense, as players in the NBA care about the game. Now, yes, I agree with the defensive argument, as defense is not as good as it used to be, okay, because defense is still played at a high level this era. This era is just more offensive oriented. So, and then you using old players to say that this era is getting weak when you're not looking at none of the young players that's playing now. Tatum, Brown, Anthony Edwards, Cat. There is a lot of young players that are playing now that can really take the mantle. Giannis is still young. Jokic is still young. Luka is still young. You didn't see none of those players. Those players are very entertaining to watch. take is just stupid because this era of basketball is very fun to watch.
The way y'all talk about KD sometimes just be blowing me away. I just don't get it. That man, KD, can go out there, shoot 22% from three. He can get locked up by Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown. So for whatever reason, he's still top 5. He's the benefit of the doubt every single year. You're expecting AD to be the best defender and a 25-point per game scorer in the postseason. KD can go out there and just do whatever he want to do offensively. Drop shooting wise, put no rim pressure, be a slouch defensively, give you no playmaking, just post up players and can't hit shots. And for whatever reason, that's fine. He can be top 5. But my expectation of Luka Doncic has got to be, he got to be one of the best offensive players and elite level defender. Kevin Durant ain't never asked to do that.
Now, yes, Kevin Durant is one of the most overrated players in the NBA, and because of how the community talks about Kevin Durant, people give Kevin Durant a pass. I don't know why, because when Kevin Durant plays bad, people give Kevin Durant a pass. But when Joel Embiid plays bad, when Tatum plays bad, when certain players play bad, the community doesn't give a pass at all. They go straight into them. They talk about them and they don't let them get past a day without you talking about how bad they played. But when Kevin Durant played bad against the Suns, because yes he did, Kevin Durant played bad against the Nuggets, not the Suns, excuse me. So Kevin Durant played bad against the Nuggets. He got locked up by Aaron Gordon and locked up by Christian Brown, a rookie. So when you go against some players and you don't play good, you expect me to put him at top 5. You expect me to have him in a high regard when he's not at that level. Kevin Durant provides high level scoring, which is not an issue. I like high level scoring. You provide high level scoring and be a good player. I'm not saying that's an issue. But when you provide high level scoring and when that scoring is even shut down and you don't provide anything else, that shows how bad of a player you are. I'm not saying Kevin Durant is not top 10, not top 20, not saying that. But what I'm saying is Kevin Durant doesn't provide anything elite or I'm going to say great in other categories besides scoring, because I think he's a good defender. I think he's a good playmaker when he can. But besides that, he doesn't provide anything great or elite after scoring, because he's an elite shot creator, he's an elite scorer. But after that, he doesn't provide anything in those categories as well. So that's why I think Kevin Durant is overrated, because a lot of people have talking points on Kevin Durant. If you would have made the shot against the Bucks, if you would have done this, if you would have done that. But those are hypotheticals. As when Kevin Durant plays bad, people don't realize that. Because a lot of people use that Bucks series to say about Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant didn't score in overtime, and people don't really like to bring that up. Well, they don't understand, because there are certain points that you have to bring up to really say the context. When you don't say those things, it just doesn't make sense, as you want to do that to other players. When it comes to Kevin Durant, you don't want to do that. I just don't understand about that, but I believe Kevin Durant is one of the most overrated players in the NBA. Thank you for watching this Hot Takes, and this is one of my favorite series on this channel, and it allows me to look at TikToks and give my thoughts to them and say what I think about them. Thank you for watching the video. Go ahead and like and subscribe for 2 weeks for 2 NBA content level videos every single week.